the freest state in these United States. And because of America's Governor Ron DeSantis, and our administration, we have transformed the state of Florida. While the media spins their lies and tries to encourage Floridians to reject Governor DeSantis' bold agenda and common sense policies, people are flocking right here to Florida for the opportunity to live in a state where freedom is valued. Florida has often found itself in the headlines, but now more than ever, we're so important politically because over the years, I have seen our beloved state become solid red, thanks to you. We've transformed Florida from a state in which Democrats used to outnumber Republican voters by more than 800,000 to now one that dominates statewide, has a supermajority in the House and Senate, and we now have more than 625,000 registered Republican voters over the Democrats. In fact, in a state where unemployment is at an all-time low, I think the only people that are collecting unemployment are Democrat politicians and party hacks. Prior to serving as Florida's Lieutenant Governor, I know many of you know, I had the privilege of serving in the Florida House of Representatives for 8 years. And we're blessed to have a great legislature, both in the House and the Senate, and I know many of them are here today, so thank you for your service. And I was looking to term out in 2018, and actually looking forward to taking a break from politics, believe it or not, and spending time with my family. However, that didn't exactly play out as I had planned. In 2018, I get a call from then Congressman Ron DeSantis asking me to join the ticket in Florida's gubernatorial race and serve as his lieutenant governor. After much thought, prayer, discussion with my family, and a little cajoling from my middle child, who is my political child, I decided to join the ticket and serve alongside Governor Ron DeSantis as Lieutenant Governor of the great state of Florida. And it is with the utmost confidence that I can honestly say that that's one of the greatest decisions of my life. And despite what you'll read or see in the news, Florida is no longer a swing state. We're no longer a battleground state. We're no longer a toss-up state. Florida is bright Republican red. And for the last 5 years, together, Governor Ron DeSantis and I have carried out the most conservative agenda in the United States of America. In fact, our administration has enhanced Florida's education system. We've secured universal school choice. We've defended parents' rights in education. We have put an end to critical race theory, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and all of those woke terms that they love to push on our people. We have stood up for our military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, and our first responders. We've prioritized economic freedom to help our economy grow and thrive, and in turn, help Florida's families that are actually having to navigate under Bidenflation and the crippling effects of his ridiculous policies that have actually hurt Floridians. We've protected our children. We've protected girls' sports. We've made sure that our children are being free from indoctrination, child mutilation, and gender-destroying care. And yes, we've taken real action and delivered real results to support Israel, our friend, our strongest ally in the Middle East. Last year's election results is proof of our administration's success. We made history by winning with a margin of nearly 20%, the largest margin for a Republican in our state's history, because people are tired of politicians that only talk but don't deliver results. We fight every day for Floridians, and we focus on making history and not necessarily headlines. And that's why Floridians made their voices clear, and they sent a resounding message to states across the nation. The Florida model works. Policies matter. Principles matter. Pollsters, pundits, and political talking heads do not matter. What matters is the people. Those of you that are here, you matter to us. And that's particularly true of education. We shun the high-paid union bosses and the bureaucrats. We support our teachers, our students, and their families. We're #1 in the nation for education, #1 for educational freedom, #1 for parental rights involvement, #1 for school choice, and #1 in the nation for higher education 7 years in a row. And that happened because the governor and I worked hard to ensure that our children can receive an in-person education. We took on the union and the establishment. We removed woke ideologies and pornography from the classrooms. Because when it comes to education, we want our kids to be educated, not indoctrinated. We want our kids to learn their ABCs, not their LGBTs. Children need to learn about math, science, civics, history. They do not need to spend their days randomly picking their pronouns or their genders for whatever the whim of the day is. We simply will not allow our healthy, resilient, strong students to fall prey to life-altering prescriptions or procedures. We've also protected parents' rights and put the power back in the hands of those that know their children best. Governor DeSantis also took on the biomedical establishment and refused to force vaccines, boosters, mask mandates, lockdowns. Today, we're seeing across the country the radical left is again turning to hysteria and trying to impose mask mandates on our children. Mark my words, that will not happen in Florida, not ever. We've prohibited school districts from forcing our children to receive the COVID-19 vaccines. We've prohibited them from forcing our children to wear masks, and we've prohibited them from sending healthy children into quarantine. We won't allow emergencies to be weaponized. We will not give in to the hysteria, and we will not bow down at the altar of Fauci. If we allow government to use emergencies to infringe on your liberties, rest assured that they will create emergencies to trample all over your freedoms. In fact, it was Benjamin Franklin who once said, "Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." Our founding fathers were wise, and they were not concerned with government doing too little. They were concerned with government doing too much. And I'm also proud that we're an administration that looks to protect girls' sports. The left loves to say that they believe in science, yet they have single-handedly attempted to redefine basic human anatomy, all the while destroying the sanctity of women's sports. And to have any discussion about the dangers of their efforts will have you labeled as a hateful bigot. And I will tell you, as a mother of a 24-year-old daughter who played sports her entire life, I could never have been more proud to see her preparing for an upcoming basketball game, a track meet, a cross-country race. And because of the love of sports, because of the love for her teammates, her female teammates, I will tell you that her and her teammates reached the state championship in the 4x100 relay. And those are the types of opportunities we're trying to preserve. Those are the types of girls we're trying to protect in every sport and in every corner of our state. By allowing men to compete in women's sports, we're making a mockery of women. We're compromising the fairness and integrity of women's sports, and we're perpetuating a lie that men can become women. In Florida, girls play against girls and boys play against boys. Period. End of story. And that's why Governor DeSantis enacted the Fairness in Women's Sports Act, and that's why we look to continue to fight for what women have fought for decades, for equal opportunities in sports, and we're not going to let the left rob them of their opportunity to fairly compete and win. I have often said that in Florida, we don't idolize celebrities or sports stars. We won't recognize their latest cause du jour. We recognize, admire, and support our men and women in uniform. We've made it clear that Florida is a law and order state, and we back the blue. And while other states and cities are spiraling out of control, pushing soft on crime policies, allowing criminals to run loose, applauding rogue prosecutors who fail to uphold the rule of law, here in Florida, we've enacted policies that are tough on crime, put criminals where they belong, and support our law enforcement officers each and every day. Many people today, perhaps you're here, have been forced to flee their dangerous cities, their dangerous states that are spiraling out of control. In search of safety and security, here in Florida, we've been that refuge. And over the last several years, our administration has worked to advance Florida's blueprint, to make sure that people are safe in their neighborhoods, that families don't have to worry about their children. We've stopped local governments from defunding the police. We've increased penalties for those that are rioting, looting, and disturbing the peace. We've enhanced penalties for those that are selling and distributing opioids, and we've increased the mandatory minimum sentencing for trafficking in fentanyl. We know that fentanyl is killing more of our young adults than ever, and that's at the hands of Biden's reckless policies at the border and the red carpet that he rolls out to the Chinese Communist Party. We've also established a recruitment program to recruit talented law enforcement officers from other parts of the country. We've given out $1,000 bonuses to our law enforcement officers 2 years in a row. And I'm proud to know that earlier this year, we had issued more than 2,200 law enforcement recruitment bonuses for those that are coming from near and far, mainly California, New York, Illinois, and Pennsylvania. And what do those states have in common? You guessed it. They're run by losers, lunatics, and leftists. We also cannot forget our brave men and women of our military. Our state is proud to be the most military and veteran-friendly state in the nation. In Florida, we believe that heroes don't wear jerseys, they wear the uniform with the U.S. flag on their sleeve, and they never hesitate to answer the call. In fact, they're not obsessed with the latest version of the pride flag. They are focused on the only flag that matters, the flag of the United States of America. So we will always honor and appreciate those who are prepared to lay down their lives, especially those that have shown the full measure of devotion. You know, in John 15:13, it reminds us that greater love has no one than this, and those that will lay down their lives for their friends. And our military, I'm so proud that our state supports them every step of the way. We're going to make sure to continue to honor, respect, and serve those who serve. And we've done so. We've done so by making sure that we provide them with the tools that they need when they return to civilian life. This year alone, Governor DeSantis signed 8 pieces of legislation to support our military and their families. We support veteran education and training opportunities. We've expanded veteran benefits, and we've strengthened long-term care for our veterans and their families. And just last month, I unveiled an initiative called LG on Mission. I'm looking to meet with service members and veterans across our great state, recognize them for their service, and work on finding new and creative ways to support them and serve them. From our World War II veterans to our newly enlisted state guardsmen in Florida, we thank you for your service. We also know that under Governor DeSantis' leadership, Florida is the fastest growing state in the nation. We're #1 in new business formation, #1 in tourism, #1 in economic freedom, #1 in net migration. Unsurprisingly, while other states are hurting, Florida is thriving. And this session, we enacted the largest tax relief package in the history of our state, $2.7 billion worth of tax relief. We understand that Floridians are struggling, which is why we want to continue to find ways to reduce the burden caused by the Biden administration. Pain at the pump and at the checkout line is caused by Biden's disdain for hardworking and God-fearing Americans. But our administration is committed to relieving some of that financial burden, relieving some of that stress, and we're going to continue to do so by providing tax relief and toll relief. The Bible also reminds us that those that bless Israel will be blessed, and those that curse Israel will be cursed. And it goes without saying that there is no greater friend to Israel than Governor Ron DeSantis. He has not just said that he unequivocally supports Israel. He's taken significant action and meaningful reforms to make sure that we're delivering not only for the people of Israel, but for our Jewish communities right here in the state of Florida. We have continued to find a way to lead in combating anti-Semitism. We've fought the BDS movement. We've provided millions of dollars in security at Jewish day schools. We've funded Holocaust memorials, and we have proudly strengthened the economic and cultural ties of the state of Israel. And on October 7th, immediately following Hamas's despicable terrorist attacks on Israel, Governor DeSantis increased security around our Jewish communities at synagogues and schools, made sure that he announced legislation to increase penalties on the largest global sponsor of terrorism, Iran, and to make sure he brought back nearly 700 Americans that were left abandoned there by Biden, and made sure to send 2 cargo flights filled with supplies to Israel. And this week, we will have a special session to address Governor DeSantis' legislative proposals on Iran, because we've pledged to continue to use every resource at our disposal to support our Jewish communities in our state, and we look forward to other states following our lead. Friends, what I'll leave you with is I am so proud to serve as your Lieutenant Governor. Governor Ron DeSantis and I will continue to stand for what's right, Even if it isn't popular, and even if it doesn't align with the headlines of the day, the corporate elites, or the woke crazies of the radical left. In Florida, we've made history and will continue to ensure that Florida remains an oasis of sanity. We will always fight for you. We will never back down. And in a state that recognizes the importance of faith, family, and freedom, thank you for standing alongside us and supporting us. May God bless you. May God bless the great state of Florida. Amen.